I know you guys have been waiting to hear my thoughts on the latest episode of Married to Medicine, but as you know, I've been traveling here in London for the Kempire After Dark live experience, which just happened on Sunday. Massive success, and it was so amazing meeting all of you here in London, and I look forward to returning. More about that on the Kempire podcast, so make sure you subscribe today. But I did take some time out before I go see Vanessa Williams in Devil Wears Prada. So if you're in London or planning to be in London, make sure you go get your tickets. It's already selling out. I was so happy that the young lady that I met in LA, who also came to our London show, told me, go get your tickets early because it was, thank you. Just thank you. So I'm excited to see that. But I wanted to make time to do our Married to Medicine recap. So I hope you guys appreciate. I'm trying to make some time, even though I could be at a Christmas market. I could be shopping, even though I did a little shopping. Anyways, we'll talk more about that in the podcast. But let's talk about this episode of Married to Medicine. But also, I want to talk about Sweet Tea coming for Quad in the episode and on her YouTube channel. You're about to make me defend Quad, Sweet Tea, and I hate this for us, but I'm gonna do it.
Here we go now.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like the video, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So as you know, we have brought the Kempire After Dark live experience here to London, but we're bringing it back to the States. January 24th will be at Union Stage. Again, so excited about that. We already have the premiere tickets are sold out, but meet and greets are still available and general admission is still available. So go get your tickets because DC, you're showing out and I appreciate that. I love that for us, okay? I love that for us. But just announced yesterday, we have officially announced our Kempire After Dark New York City return. That will be happening Black History Month, February 21st, Friday, February 21st. So go get your tickets today. Go get your meet and greet tickets and everything like that. And I will see you guys there. Sidebar, there are live stream tickets available for those that aren't in New York City or in the surrounding area. But if you are in the surrounding area, Philly, the DMV, if you're not able to make it to the January show, this is your opportunity to come to New York City and see the show there. And again, if you've been to multiple shows, and some of you have, I met a young lady who came to the New York City show, came to the Philly show, and she came to the London show. I think those were the three she came to. And she's giving you a run for your money, Joe Mendoza, she said. I love it. I love the support, and I love that you guys keep spreading the word. So keep spreading the word about our platforms. And for those that have been asking, yes, I'm on Blue Sky at TheKempire on Blue Sky. I'm slowly but surely really posting more there than anywhere else. And yes, I'm still on TikTok. So you can still follow me there. I know TikTok is said to be banned at the end of next month, but continue to follow me there because I'm still going there. I'm still posting there. But make sure you're following me on Instagram, on Blue Sky, and of course here on YouTube. So before we get into our Married to Medicine recap, I do want to say someone in the front at the Kempire After Dark live experience here in London asked me to play the game F, Marry, Kill, with the Married to Medicine husbands. And I said I would marry. Who did I say that I would marry? OMG. Oh, I would. Oh, now I remember, because it was so in the moment. I did not expect that question. So, London, you came through with the questions and the comments and the tea. So I said that I would marry Curtis. Hear me out. I'd marry Curtis because he'd be off in DR and I could do whatever I want while he's in DR. Okay? Then I would kill Dr. Gregory just because Dr. Gregory. And then I would F. And as you saw in this week's episode, Apollo's back in the fold. Everybody else, look, Cecil, no offense, cute guy, but I thought Apollo immediately. And if you were there at the show, you saw what I did. Anyways, so shout out to all of you. I love that question because I did not expect that one at all. Okay. So Married to Medicine. So there's going to be some mixed in sidebars that I have to talk about here. Okay. But at the top of this episode of Married to Medicine, first of all, for those that are in the live chat, be sure to let us know how you would rate this week's episode of Married to Medicine. Also, let me know where you're watching from and your thoughts. Replay crew, be sure to also let me know all of that as well. So at the top of this episode, we see Quad and her new man, King, who she had the big coming out party for. All right. And she's on the phone with him. She's making breakfast or something like that for him. And she's like, where are you? He's like, come outside. She's like, why do I come outside? You know how to get inside. So she goes outside and he pulls up in a Rolls Royce for her. So we do find out what he does for a living. Apparently he owns a luxury car rental company, which makes me wonder, is this Quad's car or is this a rental? Either way, I feel like in this day and age, people buying cars, is it even worth it? You know what I mean? I know so many people that lease cars nowadays. It's just because the upkeep of some of these cars is like, is it worth it? So either way, I love that for them. Okay? And I know what you're thinking. Oh, man, this scene probably felt so materialistic. Quad is a Taurus, and we do like things. We do. I wouldn't say that we're necessarily materialistic. Like it's not the end all be all for us Tauruses, but we like nice things. Okay, look. We like nice things, okay? We don't like fake things. We don't like cheap things. We don't like cheap people, okay? However, I could see her getting excited over the Rolls Royce and then going in the trunk and one of my favorite brands, Louis Vuitton, in the trunk. As a Taurus, that would make me, excited. And I was excited for her. Here's the thing, though. Watching this scene, honestly, sidebar, you remember this. Not last season, but the season before. That was her nephew, right? Those scenes with Quad and her nephew, I kind of miss those. And her mom, those were really cute. But I'm going to tell you what I really felt. Okay, because I do want Quad to be happy. I do want Quad to find love. But one of the things I've said throughout what we've been seeing for so far for the season and what we've been hearing on the streets, it seems as if Quad is doing what she needs to do to secure her spot. And then I looked at this interaction between Quad and King, and I was like, wait. And look, Quad's a beautiful woman. I'm not saying that there's not a man that wouldn't want to be with her. But as I watched the scene, and again, King is not a reality TV star. Being on reality TV, some people that are authentic are going to come across inauthentic because they're not used to filming, reality television. However, there was something there, and you guys will let me know, because a lot of times when I speak my truth, a lot of you are like, Kempire, I was feeling the same exact way. There was something inauthentic about their interaction, and I'm not saying that they're not a real couple, but it makes me wonder, especially now also, and mind you, I had this feeling before I saw what Sweet Tea said in a clip in regards to Quad and what she alluded to. But you guys let me know if you feel the same way. I kind of looked at their interaction in this scene like, wait a minute, is this just for television? Because when we think about how Quad has navigated this group and what the group has accused her of, even in this episode, Simone says it, that Quad isn't around. Quad doesn't tell them about her life. And I know what some of you are saying. Why would she tell them about her life? Look how they've treated her. Fine. I think they're talking about, though, years of Quad being this way. I know. We've seen it for ourselves. We've seen her celebrate the women of Sister Circle on this show while the other women thinking that they're friends and close with Quad are sitting on the sidelines. So are we chopped liver? So I watched the scene and I was like, It was just giving a little performative. But I did appreciate the Louis Vuitton luggage, okay? All right, so Quad does seem happy, and honestly, I was trying to push down inside what I was feeling authentically in regards to what I was watching, and just trying to see hope and love and like, oh, maybe. So she does say in this scene that now she's open to having children. So you remember with Dr. Gregory, that was something that he wanted, but Quad didn't seem like she wanted it with him. Honestly, who could blame you? Quad, because we also have to remember the toxicity of that relationship. These two had been physical with each other, arrested, due to stuff. Do you really want to bring children in that environment? Also, we have to keep in mind that this was like how long ago Quad in her relationship with Dr. Gregory. I'm sure she's in a different space now. Quad, when you see Quad around children like her nephew, I can see Quad wanting kids now. And yes, Quad is of a particular age and it's a lot harder now. But she says that she is open to actually having a child with King. And they're going to start pursuing IVF. So for me, that's why I'm so conflicted. I'm like, is this real? Is this not real? But I guess we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. And I'm willing to be wrong. And I know I'm a Taurus and half the time, more than half the time I'm not. But I really do hope this for Quiet. I don't like these reality TV games that we see a lot of reality TV stars play. But I hope that that's not the game that she's playing here. Because I do hope that she does find a relationship. Because we can get all the money in the world. We can get all the fame in the world. All the opportunities in the world. But if we don't have someone to share it with authentically and actually outside of the cameras have someone that we have a good time with and can be in love with, what's the point? What's the point? Anyway, so that was my thought on that scene. But I appreciate it. She got a Rolls Royce and a Louis Vuitton luggage. That Louis Vuitton luggage I've been eyeing. But I'm like, the way that they throw around luggage at the airport, I mean, that's a carry-on. So I would never check that. And you know how every time you're at the gate and like, who would want to volunteer and check their luggage? And yeah, normally you don't want to have to be rolling around a carry-on. But you ain't going to be throwing around my Louis Vuitton luggage. Okay? You're not going to be throwing that around and I'm going to get scratch marks on that. And I have some good luggage that they've thrown around and now it's like, I mean, it's still in good condition. I mean, like it's not tore apart, but there are scratches and things on it because of the way they deal with luggage. So I went to Primark here in London and honestly, look, I'm not a huge fan of Primark. I almost, you know how Lisa Barlow feels when she goes to economy? That's how I felt in Primark for a hot second, with the polyester of it all. Look, I'm not bougie, but I also like a deal. And I found this black, almost matted luggage. I sent it to Grace Report. She's like, ooh, I like that luggage. It's actually really nice. We shall see how long it will last. We shall see how long it will last, dealing with them throwing it around. We shall see. But so far, I like it. I have to see in the States if our Primark has something similar. Because I'm like, I have good luggage. I don't need any more luggage. But you guys got me so many gifts. Shout out to, thank you, Rita. The Grace Report gave me stuff. Shout out to your aunties could never. They gave me a bag of stuff. So I was forced to get more luggage. So it wasn't my fault. A bunch of you got me a little, little things. I appreciate it. Oh my goodness, guys. Again, I'll talk about this in a separate podcast. Because some of you traveled near and far to come to the Kempire After Dark experience. And I don't take that lightly. Someone traveled from New Zealand. Rita traveled from Germany. Grace travels from Paris. I mean, a lot of you came far. Even some of you came from further parts of England. So I appreciate on a rainy Sunday evening. I appreciate it. And with the threat of the train shutting down at 11, I appreciate you guys, okay? Anyways. Okay, here's the thing. Look, I'm not a parent. And I've always felt a little bit like, why are Dr. Simone and Cecil giving their boys an apartment. But they bought this apartment. Like it's their rental. They own it. And they're renting it to their sons. And they've given their sons, I forgot what they gave Michael, a certain amount of time for rent-free. And then their other son, a certain amount of time of rent-free. Why do we have a scene where they're coming to the apartment to teach their sons how to clean? Shouldn't you have done that when you first started raising them as kids? I remember my mom teaching us how to wash. We had chores and things like that. So your sons never had to do that. And look, I know we always say, you know, I would be grateful for my children to not have to do any of that stuff. You know, that's why we work so hard. That's why we have a housekeeper, a cleaner. That's not Dr. Simone and Cecil, though. Okay, that's not how they raised their kids. You know, they did stuff on their own. So part of me is sort of like, I don't understand why your sons don't know how to do that already. But fine, you know, a lot of kids don't. But now you've gotten them an apartment. Now you're coming over there to teach them how to clean. You arrive at the apartment and they're not there. I was pissed for you. You guys took it very lightly. And I was like, okay, maybe this is just a scene to have a scene, because just as a follow-up story in regards to this apartment. So they're already trashing the apartment, not taking care of it. And I'm just like, I was annoyed for them. But again, it's not my apartment. I was like, they're not keeping the place clean. Okay, they're boys, whatever. But isn't that what you're supposed to teach them at home? I know that they're boys, but shouldn't you be teaching them how to clean and do laundry? Why are we doing this at their big age? But again, I don't have kids, and look, no matter how much you teach them, some people are just nasty. Since I'm in London, instead of doing woo woo woo, we've changed it for our Londoners. Woo woo. Woo woo woo. Anyway, so they end up talking about this party that they had, you know, the celebration of Freaknik, the Whitnick. There we go. And Simone talks about Quad's boyfriend reveal. Despite Cecil and Quad being close, he also did not know about this boyfriend, King. Simone says that it's the same old Quad. This is what Quad does. Quad wants to act like she wants to be friends with them, but she doesn't treat them like friends. And I know there are some Quad squad that defend Quad's behavior, and I'm thinking to myself, well, no, I kind of understand why. I'm not saying that Dr. Simone or Dr. Jackie or the other Heavenly are perfect. Not at all. But how do we not see how Quad is wrong in this as well? But, you know, maybe that's just me. Anyways, so she talks about that, and she says, like, you know, we didn't even know she's been dating this guy for over a year, which kind of goes back to the situation that, is this real? Look, I twerk on a fence when it comes to whether or not this is real, this relationship is real, because on one side, we had Dr. Heavenly says, I talk to Quad all the time. I talk to her in the morning, I talk to her in the afternoon, and I never hear this man that's there. And she's saying that they spend time together all the time. But some of you brought up the valid reason. Why would Quad tell Dr. Heavenly anything? No matter how close they might be, she knows that Dr. Heavenly can't hold water. Okay, so we would already know about this boyfriend if she had told Dr. Heavenly. I also told you, as a Taurus, I completely understand where Quad would never tell anyone. I mean, you would have to be really close for a Taurus to tell you something like that, especially if they know you can't hold water. So I probably would not tell Heavenly until it was time. But then some might say, here I go twerking on that fence. I'm really twerking on the fence today. Maybe she didn't tell anyone because it's not real. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep an eye. I'm not 100% sure on either side, whether the relationship is real or not. I can understand her not wanting to bring the relationship to reality television, because why not figure out if this is a real relationship before bringing it to reality television. So many people bring relationships that are brand new to reality television, and with everyone's opinions, that's like bad juju on your relationship. So I can understand that aspect as well. Because like I said, I personally probably would never do that. Anyways, Contessa, Sweet Tea, and Phaedra hang out, which I thought this was an interesting combination. And you remember we had a lot of you were reacting to the mental health professional that called in and expressed concern for Contessa based on the scenes that they were watching. So now I'm kind of looking at the Contessa scenes, but Contessa's a friend of, so we're not going to get any of her personal stuff, even though they do in this episode talk about Contessa and her relationship with Heavenly and some of the things that Heavenly has said on her YouTube channel. Okay? So Contessa says that she's still upset. I don't remember how Contessa's last season ended with Heavenly. I don't know if they ever really made amends. I can't even remember. But basically, Contessa says that she's still upset with Heavenly from some of the things that she said on social media. And then they replay some of the things that Heavenly has said on her YouTube channel about Scott. But one of the reasons why we got a break, thank you to production, from Contessa, Dr. Contessa, was that she tried to gaslight the audience. Like, we didn't watch her say the things that she said about Scott. Girl, if you are happy with whatever the relationship is, toxic, unhealthy, say that. Like, I'm sticking by my man. Say that. But don't make it seem like we didn't see what we saw and that it's all on Heavenly. Okay? Just saying. Okay. So they talk about that. They talk about planning this sort of like cowboy glamping situation for the group. But here's what stood out to me. Sweet Tea hears about this new man from Phaedra and Contessa, about this new man and that Quad is dating. And Sweet Tea says she's happy that Quad has a man, and says that she hopes that he's got some more because he's got, I guess, money or that kind of thing, because that's important to her. And I said to myself, Sweet Tea, we heard everything you said last season in regards to Dr. Gregory and having access to the money. You remember that? So I find it so interesting that you're almost shading Quad. And look, we defended you, Sweet Tea, because I felt like a lot of Quad in the interview she was doing, she was taking just unnecessary shots at you. But now I'm looking at you like, well, some might say, Kempire, well, she took unnecessary shots at her, so this is her get back. Maybe. But if you're going to get back at someone, get back at them with things that you haven't done yourself. Because if you're going to talk about a woman wanting someone just for money, because that's important to them, literally that is you too. Okay? Twerking on a fence. Not so much though. Okay? So that leads me to want to talk a little bit about what Sweet Tea has been saying. So Sweet Tea has decided to collaborate with Candy's, videographer, and she's doing her own YouTube videos. We've talked about this, okay? So I have a couple of clips that I want to mention because I find it interesting, some of the things that Sweet Tea is saying in regards to how she got on the show. We know apparently Dr. Jackie and Dr. Heavenly encouraged her to be on the show, but Sweet Tea is now saying that Heavenly told her it's because Quad needs the money. Well, I just want to say this before we watch the video clip. I don't doubt that Quad needed the money, because that was part of the reason why, she was having those issues in regards to her contract negotiations the last couple of seasons. Apparently she was trying to ask for more money, allegedly. Okay? Remember, there were rumors that she wasn't coming back, and all of a sudden, oh no, it's not true, she's coming back. And she wasn't filming at the time. So for those people that will say, well, no, she was negotiating her contract, blah, 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 that's why she wasn't filming. Well, yes, that can be true, but what exactly was happening? It seemed as if they were moving forward with the season without Quad. Maybe, maybe not. But I think Quad got the memo that this season what she needed to do was engage with the women more and have her own storyline, which she has, outside of Dr. Gregory. But I still feel like it was important for Quad to be back last season, because I feel like the Sweet Tea and the Dr. Gregory storyline probably would have fell flat. I think it would have been okay, Dr. Gregory's back, but it was always going to mention Quad. So on some level, they definitely needed Quad. So Quad probably was like, I need y'all to reflect that in my money. But I also believe, based on what Sweet Tea says in this video, that Heavenly was trying to help Quad a lot, secure her spot on the show. Because remember, Heavenly came out, what was it, last week, where she said that she was more than willing to help Quad and film with Quad because the rest of the group were trying to get her fired. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at one of the clips that Sweet Tea posted on her YouTube channel.
A part of the show. She was really just trying to get me on. I met her and Jackie at the golf tournament one year. And I wasn't quite ready yet to be on that show. I was living in DC and all of that. But when I did come into Heavenly's office, she was like, look at it like being, helping out another black woman. And I'm all about empowering black women. And so at the time, I think that, I don't know, maybe Quad was going through some struggles. And she was like, Quad doesn't have anything. She doesn't have anything to fall back on. She doesn't have a job. Whatever she's doing she's not able to sustain her lifestyle and also pay for her house. And
so before you guys get on Sweet Tea about that, I believe that Heavenly could have said something like that. Anyone else? I do believe that Heavenly did say this to Sweet Tea. I don't think Sweet Tea is just making this up, including the whole, that Heavenly believed that Mariah did have receipts on Damon cheating. Maybe her recollection or the way she verbalizes what Heavenly told her doesn't necessarily always translate, but I do believe that Heavenly was being messy behind the scenes talking about Quad in this way.
So what I was like, she made me look at it that way because
like a business deal to help out another fellow sister.
Yes, indeed. And so that's not really the reason why I did it, but that was a thought.
So we're supposed to believe that one of the reasons that Sweet Tea decided to come on the show was to be altruistic to Quad. I don't think that was necessarily her main motivation. Again, I do believe that Heavenly did say this to Sweet Tea, but I also think that Sweet Tea wanted to get a little bit even closer to the money by being on the show. So let's be real.
Also still knew that was his ex. So
yes.
I'm helping out his ex. Oh, Lord, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Does Quad know that she was saying this to you?
I think she does know. I mean, there's receipts out there, screenshots of Heavenly replying in her comments because she did invite me onto her show and replying in comments saying that she was helping Quad the most. She was helping Quad the most out of everybody. She said, I'm helping both of them, but Quad.
So the whole goal to get you on the show was to get Quad a check.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I mean, I can see that possibility. Literally, we saw Heavenly just say last week that she was more than willing to film with Quad. She's like, I'll help Quad. I've seen multiple videos where Heavenly has said that it looked as if Quad wasn't going to come back, but she came in and said, I'm going to film with Quad. This show needs Quad. And I will agree, based on what she said. I do think Married to Medicine and some of the messiness that people enjoy, along with everything else, it's because of Heavenly and Quad. However, some of the things that we see Sweet Tea say in this latest video on her YouTube channel, you do not want to come for Quad, because I wish you luck, Sweet Tea. I don't think Sweet Tea has the energy besides getting crunk, meaning like she wants to fight. I don't think she has the shade level that she needs in order to match a Quad, okay? Or the Quad Squad. All right. So let's take a look at some more things that she had to say in regards to Quad and possible receipts that she has in regards to Quad's situation and storyline.
Happy because I felt like she was stuck on our relationship. Like, I think that she felt some type of way, and it's okay to still feel some type of way about someone. Like I said, I had felt some type of way about my ex, but I didn't do anything that didn't match up with my feelings. I didn't go and contact my ex and like, let's hang out.
Oh, so you're saying what she was doing still had nothing to do with the show?
Right.
Okay, because I was about to say, do you think the show made her feel that she wanted him and she didn't?
I don't know. I mean, I did hear something from Anila, and Anila said that after their season that wrapped up, the last season that she was on in season 9, that they met up for lunch, and she said that, you know, she was talking about possibly getting back with him or something like that. Now,
okay, here's the thing. Quad could have gotten back with Dr. Gregory a long time ago. Okay. There's been a long time since these two have divorced. So if Quad really wanted to get back with Dr. Gregory, I think she would have. I think maybe Quad had a different mentality when she was with Dr. Gregory and why she had gotten with him when she did. Do I think that Quad wanted to get back with Dr. Gregory in recent years or even in the last year? I don't think so. I don't even think Quad... I think Quad was at a particular point in her life where she had different things that she wanted or valued at the time in regards to that relationship. I don't think Quad wants that man now or recently. And Anila being the person that told you this, I don't know if I 100% believe that. But again, I think Sweet Tea will get information, but the way she articulates it doesn't make the most sense. Okay? All right.
I don't think that he was in that space, but I think what Anila told me is like that she said that I can get him back if I wanted to. And not only that, Heavenly has uttered stuff like that. So I think that it could be some hurt there, and maybe she felt like that she could do it, you know, and Gregory, he's successful. I think that she may miss the stability, and that's just the truth. I think she does. Every woman wants a provider, and it's hard out here for us. Like, it's hard out here for us Black women to get out there and do it on our own. And maybe she's gotten a taste of that. And that it ain't easy. It ain't easy. You know, I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons from being single and also being in a marriage, you know. So maybe she missed that, the stability of it. And it's always great to have a partner there to support you.
She's in love, and from what it sounds like, she has found a provider.
Yeah.
And Heavenly said you can Google it, so.
You know what? I got a lot of receipts, a lot of ammo, but it's too early to release. Let's just see how things play. Let's see how things play, because I don't want to put anything out too early. Now, depending on how you move, you better be quiet, you better hush, you better lay low. Don't do too much. Don't freeze, because I got too much, girl, on you, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to mess your stuff up. I don't want to mess your stuff up. And I want you to keep your storyline. I want you to be happy.
The initial thing was to keep a check.
Yes. Keep your check. I don't want to embarrass nobody. That's not what I'm about. You better leave me alone. You better go on.
See, that's the thing with Sweet Tea. Some of her stuff is so cringy that I'm like, it's hard to ride for you. But I do think that they came after Sweet Tea just unnecessary, in an unnecessary way, and it may be too much. But that last part made me think, oh, are the receipts that she's referring to meaning that this relationship with King is not 100% real and that she's using this to be a part of her storyline? Maybe. But let's be honest and let's tell the truth, Sweet Tea. We could care less about you and Dr. Gregory on this show. Honestly, like we appreciate the conversation about IVF and getting pregnant and that journey. But to be honest with you, I think the audience has seen this storyline so many times that yes, we can watch it for a hot second, but without Quad and without the drama with Quad, I think that makes you and Dr. Gregory more relevant on the show. And I do think that interaction and that relevancy importance is important for both of you. But the good thing about Quad, she can get engaged and have fun and make jokes. She's a good reality TV star on her own. I'm not saying that we could watch a show just about Quad. No. But she's a good and important element to Married to Medicine when involved. Because, in recent years, a lot of people said Quad's not necessarily on the show anymore. She's not Married to Medicine. She doesn't fit in with the group. There are those elements. But at least with her, she has history with the group and there's a friendship with the group. So I can see it working, but you don't necessarily have that history. And a lot of people say that Sweet Tea doesn't fit in with the rest of the group. She doesn't. There is a huge age gap as well. And there also isn't a lot of history. And there's an awkwardness with Sweet Tea that we don't necessarily have with Quad. And that could be she's just getting used to being on reality television. But I find it interesting, some of the things that she's saying in regards to Quad and, Quad's relationship and Quad possibly feeling like she could have Dr. Gregory again if she wanted to. And we did hear that last season that Quad said something like that. No, Heavenly is the one who said that, I believe. Don't get me lying. But I remember them saying that Quad was saying that if she really wanted Dr. Gregory back, she could have him. Honestly, I believe that she could. I don't think Quad really wants Dr. Gregory back. Because, okay, let's say for argument's sake, why exactly would Quad want Dr. Gregory back? To secure her spot on this show? I mean, despite the little hiccups before the last couple of seasons, somehow Quad has been able to secure her position on the show in coming back. Yes, has it been on shaky, thin ice? Yes. But again, in a third season, she's been able to maneuver her way back onto this show. Does she need this reality TV check? Yes, but is she the only one? A lot of you sit here and think that there are some of these reality TV stars, they don't need that little Bravo check. A lot of them do. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and act as if Quad's the only one. Okay? However, do I think that Quad would get back with Dr. Gregory for this check? Honestly, I don't. I honestly think that she's done with Dr. Gregory. Like, that was so many years ago at this point since their divorce. And she could easily find another doctor somewhere else without having to get back to Dr. Gregory. But I could also see Quad saying, if I wanted that man back, I could get that man back. But what exactly does Gregory offer at this particular point? He's still living in the same house that they first came on the show with. It doesn't seem like his business or his life has upgraded in a dramatic way. And I'm sure he does fine. But would he be able to buy a Rolls Royce for Quad right now? Or even rent one? Because we don't know if it was bought or rented. Would he even be able to rent one? Maybe. Will he be able to buy her the luxury items that she wants? Maybe he has the ability, but maybe he's too cheap to do that. And what I did tell you at the top of this, us Tauruses don't like a cheap man. Or cheap person in general. So then there's that. I've diverted so much during this recap. Guys, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel. This is our weekly recap of Married to Medicine. I'm still in London. Yes, I am. Mind your business, okay? And I will get to our Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Salt Lake City later in the week, okay? Later in the week. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you are subscribed and that your notifications are on and that you're following us on Blue Sky because I have been posting the links when we're going live there, okay? And don't forget, we are coming back to Washington, D.C. on January 24th, Friday, January 24th, then back to New York City on Friday, February 21st. So we got some Friday shows. I know it's hard in the middle of the week, but sometimes we just have to deal with what is available. So shout out to those of you that came here on a Sunday in London or a Wednesday in Los Angeles. We still turned up. We still had a really great time and a great turnout. So we appreciate all of you coming. But don't forget, more information on our Kempire After Dark upcoming dates will be available in the description. All right. All right, so we have these two scenes. One scene with Heavenly and her son Zachary, who's getting ready to go to dentistry school, and Heavenly has said that she's going to give her business off to him. I love this for them because this is what we talk about, generational wealth. She's now secured this business. She's built this business. She's brought this business on Bravo, so it's going to be a huge business regardless. And now her son is going to follow in her footsteps. And now he will have this business. And who knows, maybe his children will be a part of this business. So we have this really cute, funny scene where she's, letting him, treat a patient, and he's dealing with those different moments. And then when speaking to Dr. Heavenly, he doesn't call her Dr. Heavenly. He's like, mommy, mommy, mommy. And she's like, it's Dr. Heavenly. It's Dr. Heavenly. It was a cute scene. I liked seeing it. And again, I think part of the importance of a show like Married to Medicine is seeing them in these professional environments so that we can have more Black doctors, Black dentists, because there are a small percentage. And I think seeing this may inspire people to actually do that. Literally, they were talking about the Maxine Shaw effect, Erica Alexander, on how a lot of Black women ended up becoming attorneys because of watching Living Single and watching Maxine Shaw at Law. Okay, so you just never know how you're going to touch people's lives in any way. Okay, all right. So we then have another scene with Dr. Jackie, and I always tell you these scenes with Dr. Jackie. We were just talking about this last week. This week we have Dr. Jackie meeting with this lesbian couple. One again. A lot of you said, "Oh, here she goes with a celebrity client," because this woman, Ryan, is a pro basketball player in the WNBA, and she has fibroids. So they're dealing with that before Ryan actually gets pregnant. So they already have their son there. Her son is there. So Dr. Jackie talks again about how fibroids are very prevalent amongst Black women, and we don't know exactly why. I didn't realize that we didn't know exactly why. So she talks a little bit about that, and she talks about the process of Ryan, getting rid of these fibroids and then getting pregnant. Again, this is why we watch Married to Medicine, to have these conversations, to see a different dynamic. Because normally, maybe in the early years, we would see Dr. Jackie meeting with a heterosexual couple. But, in this particular moment, I love the fact that, because I have grown up in an age where I've seen how our society has changed in regards to same-sex couples having families, having marriages. Literally, in my lifetime, that was made legal. Hopefully that won't be overturned by the Supreme Court. But it's so interesting to see this happen. All right, so that was a really cool scene to watch. Everyone starts receiving their invitations from Phaedra, Contessa, and Sweet Tea in regards to this glamping that they're going to be doing in Florida, okay? And I love at the end, I thought we might see a little bit of the trip in this episode, but that's going to be next week. Based off the preview for next week, it looks really good, really entertaining. So these ladies bring it. Married to Medicine is very consistent. Just when I think like, what are we going to be talking about? No, they're really, really, really good about keeping us interested. Hold on, did I skip? Oh my goodness, I have to rewind back. I don't know how I skipped this scene because I really enjoy Dr. Eugene and Toya. Apologies, y'all. I was so excited to talk about the sweet tea of it all. I completely skipped over Dr. Eugene, his new business, and Toya bringing her son there. So Dr. Eugene is educating his son on hormones and what he might be going through. So Toya, they talk about wet dreams, and Toya's just like, "You had a wet dream? What happened?" And I know some people might be uncomfortable with that, especially in Black families. I love the fact that Toya makes it okay for her son to talk about these things with her, talking about the hair on his private areas. I was like, we should normalize that, because I think a lot of us, that grew up in, probably Toya, because Toya and I are probably around the same age, where you didn't talk about these things with your family or your parents. I like that she makes it okay for her son to talk about these things. But also Toya, but that's also Toya being an Aries. Aries, I feel like, especially Aries women are like that. Like, they're easy to like, yes, let's talk about this stuff. But speaking of her being an Aries, Toya, talks about the business. So she's like, I have some business ideas in regards to some things that you should implement in this new business, because Dr. Eugene is transitioning from working in emergency medicine to this sort of like wellness business that he's in, okay, medical wellness business. So she's like, I think you should add Botox, and he's just like, I don't want to add Botox. I have so many other things that I'm focused on. I don't want to do it. He said, I would rather have someone else do it. And honestly, Botox at this particular point are handled by people that are nurse practitioners. He all he needs to do is bring someone in to do stuff like that. But I get it. He doesn't want to expand into all these areas all at once, because when you do stuff like that, sometimes that can, tank your business. But Toya reminds us, before I got married to Eugene, I was working for this company and that company. So she has experience in marketing, and she's just like, this is what I think you should do. And honestly, she's not wrong. She's not wrong, but I get where he's coming from. He doesn't want to expand too quickly into other areas if he doesn't have the capacity. But sometimes you need your partner to be that person to push you, that says, no, you should take this risk. So they talk a little bit about that business. I'm excited for Dr. Eugene. I know working in the ER was a lot of stress for him. So, and one of the things I do enjoy with his scenes, you could tell he's really smart and he knows what he's talking about. Very much like Dr. Jackie. Like, I like seeing him talk medical stuff. I love seeing him educate his sons on things in regards to that. And I like to see the banter between the three of them. Like, I think they probably have like a really good time. I know we have dragged Toya for many, many seasons for free Eugene. But I like seeing this other side of them where they're, interacting with their kids. I think they have a good, fun time with each other. Dr. Eugene says his mother still doesn't believe that he has sex, despite him having 2 children. And Toya's just like, that can't be real. But then she's like, when I go to their house, there is no door on the guest room. So if that was me, we would not be staying at Mama Eugene's house. We'd be staying at a hotel nearby. Just saying. I mean, depending on how long you're staying. If you're staying a couple of nights, who cares? But at the same time, no, you want your privacy. Like, I still want to be able to like take my clothes off and, not my door wide open. But anyways. All right, let's fast track, because I definitely wanted to talk about that scene. Let me fast track to, where were we? Okay, so everyone receives their invites for the glamping trip. Simone says that she does want to apologize to Quad for what she said at the reunion, but she refuses to apologize for Napa. She doesn't feel like what she did in Napa was wrong, but a lot of the other women, Dr. Jackie, Heavenly, apologize, and I honestly think their apology, although I think it was genuine, I do think that they felt the pressure of social media, and that's why they did it. And so Simone's stubborn. She's like, I'm not apologizing for Napa. I will apologize, and I feel like I need to apologize for what I said at the reunion. All right? And she brings up the fact that Quad, shifts with the wind when it comes to social media. She'll get on social media and start saying stuff, and just when I thought we were good, we're back where we started. Okay. All right. So Phaedra and Apollo. So we already knew that, if we saw the preview, that Apollo would be filming this season. There was a rumor that Heavenly had invited him on this group trip, and that's part of the reason why Phaedra ends up leaving the show and ending up back on Real Housewives of Atlanta. We shall see. Because apparently Toya has been asking a lot of questions. Toya ran into Apollo and was asking questions, and previously she had saw Phaedra and said, I ran into Apollo, and she had all kinds of questions about, remember, Apollo cheating on his new wife. You remember we did a story, we even showed you the video footage where the ring footage, and I'm assuming the woman that he was cheating with put it out there, basically all this stuff, only for us to realize that Apollo and his wife have not divorced. They're still together. And you will see her on this show. So Phaedra is giving the boys to Apollo because she's going on this girls trip. Anyone notice how awkward the boys were with Apollo? And it shouldn't be a surprise when probably for a good portion of their lives, he's been in prison. And I don't believe Phaedra had them going to visit him in prison either. And even if you did, that's a moment. You know what I mean? That's not like growing up with your father. So I thought it was interesting how awkward the boys were around him. Okay? They do ask, the producers ask, is Apollo allowed in the house? And she's like, no. We already knew from the reunion that she doesn't allow him in the house. He does come to the house often, but he's not allowed in the house. And Phaedra says, yeah, she doesn't want that energy in her house. She also says, he's crazy. I'm pretty sure we're probably going to see Apollo at the reunion. If Phaedra is at the reunion, do you think that Phaedra will be at the reunion based on her hightailing it out of the season? But I will agree, and I can appreciate from Toya, you may have seen the preview for next week, where Toya says that, Phaedra is very guarded. Phaedra doesn't share anything with the group or the audience. I'm interested to see if we're going to get more from Phaedra during the new season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. But remember, she comes in at the last 2 weeks of filming. But according to Cynthia Bailey, she stirs things up. But is she stirring things up that has nothing to do with her own personal story? Probably. But at this particular point, like Phaedra, you can't be on reality television when it's about your life and not give up anything in regards to your life. We're not saying you have to say everything, but you give us nothing. And I can be honest and say that on Trader, she was amazing. She was so funny. I love the reads that she gave, but that had nothing to do with her personal life. So it works there. I'd much rather see Phaedra on House of Villains than see her on a show that's supposed to be about your life and we don't get anything about your life. So I guess the scene with Apollo was supposed to give us a little in to her life, but no, it doesn't. Did anyone else notice like an awkwardness between Apollo and Phaedra? It's even more awkward than when they were in the garage that time before he went off to jail. And so I don't know what it is. At first I was like, is that sexual energy between these two? Or is this something else? It was awkward. It was awkward between Apollo and his own kids, and then it was awkward between Phaedra and Apollo. Like they couldn't even look each other in the eye. Who knows? Who knows? But Phaedra knew she had to give us a little something this season in order to earn her coin in regards to her contract with Married to Medicine. Phaedra brings up the fact that Toya mentioned that she had ran into Apollo, and then they talk about all of the, rumors and the video footage that came out with Apollo cheating. And she's like, oh, she's just so nosy, asking all these questions. I'm like, I'm glad that she is, because this is the only way that we're going to get anything from you. And this is why I always find it funny in regards to how people are talking about Garcelle. Garcelle doesn't give up. No, Garcelle has given up her storyline, but not everybody has drama. We know that Phaedra has stuff going on that she's just not sharing. And honestly, I can appreciate Toya in this moment because there are things that have played out on social media, not necessarily involving Phaedra, but it does involve Phaedra's baby's father that she brought on the show at the reunion, that are going on in the blogs that we're just going to completely ignore. What in the Dorit? How are we going to ignore that? So I appreciate her saying, you're so guarded. Like, we all are working here. That's the aspect that they're not saying. Like, we're all working here. We're all sharing our lives. And you are here probably making more than all of us. And you're not sharing anything. Oh, no, girl. You're going to have to share something. You're going to have to work. So we have to keep that in mind. There's a lot that's not being said, but the undertone is more so about the reality TV of it all. The like, well, I'm showing up and I'm showing up for work. Why aren't you? And you're probably getting paid as much as me, if not more than me. Okay. And this is supposed to be a show about our lives. And this specifically is a show about women that are married to medicine or are doctors. And you are neither. Just saying. Because we want to say that about Quad, but why aren't we saying that about Phaedra? We are, but, some people are like, oh, but Phaedra's important. No, she's not. No, she's not. So Toya in her confessional says that, Phaedra's really guarded. She's not really sharing anything. So that's why she's asking these questions. Okay. We appreciate it. We appreciate your service, Toya. Okay. Sweet Tea's twin is pregnant. So she was on FaceTime with her. She's at home with Dr. Gregory. Dr. Gregory, after Sweet Tea's twin got pregnant, they feel the pressure for them to get pregnant. That's part of their storyline right now. Excuse me. Did anyone notice the coaster situation? Dr. Gregory's like, oh, we're like savages here with the glasses on the table. Fine. Sweet Tea's just like, I do think that it's about time that we get a new table, because it's probably the same table that they had when he was still married to Quad. Maybe. But I just noticed that. It's just like, oh, we got it. There's a little bit of a tick when it comes to Dr. Gregory, but they say that about a lot of psychiatrists. You know what I mean? There's always a little something off with them. So he's just like, he goes to grab some of the coasters. So then they end up talking about their, pregnancy timeline. And she's like, do you have a cutoff for when we can, keep pursuing this whole situation? And she's talking about pain that she's receiving, the pain that she's having since the surgery and whatnot. And he says, his cutoff would be 2 years. So she gets really emotional because she thought maybe she had a little bit longer. And he says that he feels bad because he didn't realize that, she would feel the pressure because of that. But he's like, there are other options, like adoption and surrogacy. There are tons of options in 2024 when it comes to having a child. However, I do understand that there are some women that want to have that experience, that physical experience of carrying a child. So she gets really emotional about that. And, now she says she feels the pressure to get pregnant between her sister being pregnant. And now he's saying that he would, his cutoff time would be 2 years. Okay. All right. So then we have this other scene where Phaedra speaks. She had spoken with Heavenly, and she spoke with Heavenly about her relationship with Contessa. And Heavenly doesn't understand. She didn't think that she had any issues with Contessa. Okay. And Heavenly's like, this group, no one wants to apologize. She said, I feel like I apologize all the time, but no one gives me credit for apologizing. I think the problem, though, with Heavenly is that she apologizes but does the same thing again. So I think you want credit for apologizing, but you apologize and you do the same behavior. So the apology for me then is just null and void. So everyone is packing and getting ready, and they head to the airport. They're heading to Florida for this trip. We don't see the trip just yet, but we see a flash of what is to come on this trip. And based on the flashes, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Married to Medicine the women are going to do on this trip. There are, of course, going to be conversations with Quad. Excuse me, y'all. With Quad. There probably will be conversations with Sweet Tea and Heavenly, Contessa and Heavenly. We shall see. We shall see what this will be. How are you feeling, guys? How would you rate this week's episode? I thought this week's episode felt like a little bit of a filler. Definitely felt a little bit like a filler, but I think we're going to get to the nitty gritty and interesting parts of Married to Medicine's newest season next week during this trip. So this week's episode, I think it was episode 3, felt a little bit like a filler. So I probably would rate it like a 7.5. So in that 7 to 10 range, just not an 8, 9, or 10. Okay. Don't forget, guys, I did give you an update in regards to the Jay-Z lawsuit. There was another update along with talking about this Luigi Maggioni arrest. He is being accused of being a suspect in the death of the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. So more information on that is available here on our YouTube channel. But don't forget, you can hear an audio version of our live recaps and special episodes on the Kempire podcast. While you're there, don't forget to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Reviewing our podcast is so important, and letting a person know about what we're doing. And I met a lot of you here in London and said, oh, I turned this person onto your podcast. I appreciate that. Word of mouth definitely helps. We don't want to rely on an algorithm to just have us show up. You know, some people have discovered us in that way, which we appreciate. But don't forget to tell a friend about what we're doing here on the Kempire podcast. All right. All right, guys, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to turn on your notifications. And let's continue this conversation with the replay crew in the comment section. Replay crew, be sure to let us know your thoughts and opinions on the latest episode of Married to Medicine. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday. Where did the week go? Where did the week go? Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.
Here we go now.